Hello and welcome. My name is Chris Henley, and today we're going to talk about table value parameters and the merge statement in SQL Server 2008. Now, in many customer scenarios, it's necessary to pass a set of table structured values or rows to a stored procedure function on the server. Now, these values may be used for populating or updating a table directly or for more complex manipulation of data for business logic purposes. Now, table-valued parameters provide an easier way to define a table type and then allow applications to create, populate, and pass table-structured parameters to stored procedures and functions. Now, with the introduction of the merge SQL statement, developers can more effectively handle common data warehousing scenarios, like checking whether a row exists and then executing an insert or an update thereafter. For this example, we're going to create a stock trading scenario. First, we'll create a table to hold my stock holdings. Now, this will include 200 shares of Microsoft, 50 shares of Starbucks, and 500 shares of Cisco. Now, notice that we use the new date field to store the last trade date. Now, this is a date value without the time portion appended and is a new data type in SQL Server 2008. Next, we create a table to store sales and purchases of stock and to actually insert some trades. Now, this table uses the new date time offset value, which includes the ability to do a time zone offset. Now, in this case, you can see our time zone offset is actually a -8, which is Pacific time. Now, remember the time offset in this case is based on Greenwich Mean Time. Now, we're going to create a new user-defined data type, or a UDT, and we're going to call this my table type. Now, this UDT is of the type table, and the table type has been available since SQL Server 2000, but now we can create a UDT of table with a defined schema. So here are some examples of using this new UDT. First, we create a new variable of this type and populate it with a summary of net trades from the daily trades table. So the @StockTrades variable actually will contain a table with the schema that we defined when creating the UDT. Now we can update the row values in the UDT variables using the same SQL syntax that we would use to update the actual table itself. In this scenario, we want to update the stock holdings table, my stocks. And we want to make these updates with the net changes from the stock trades. Now to do this, we create a stored procedure. We call it USP update stocks. And this accepts a parameter of our new stock trades. Now, the parameter is actually from the new my table UDT. Now this stored procedure uses the new merge statement to update my stocks. Now merge compares two tables or two table variables and allows you to specify an action on whether there is a join on both tables, a match, or if the right side table includes a record not in the left side table or not matched. In this stored procedure, if a record for a stock exists in both tables and the net holdings are 0, then the stock is deleted from the holdings table. If the net holdings are not 0, then the holdings table is updated to the new value. If the stock is new for the holdings table, then a new record is inserted. Now to call a new stored procedure, we create a new variable for the my table type UDT variable to the USP update stock stored procedure. And the stored procedure will then update the my stocks table to reflect the holdings after the trades. Now you can see the holdings before the trades, the net changes and trades, and finally the holdings after the trades have been applied. I've sold the Cisco stock. I've added 30 shares of Microsoft and 500 shares of Starbucks. I've also added some new stocks to my holdings. In this case, I've added 150 shares of GM and 100 shares of Amazon. Now, when we look at this new table value plus merge statement in SQL Server 2008, it adds additional flexibility and additional capability in displaying data such as the stock data that we've shown you here. Thanks for joining us. Join us again for more on new features of SQL Server 2008.